Hello, everybody. We'll just be another minute or so before we get started. All right, I've got 12:30, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everyone to this training session for Conference SIDs on the Presto Awards platform. Today, we're going to be talking about Players of the Week, as far as setting up your awards, how that's going to work, and how that process works. So with us today is Anne-Marie Pearson from Presto. She's going to walk us through all of this, and we're going to take your questions. I will say at the top, if you have a question, go ahead and put it into the chat, send that to me, and I will pose the question to Anne-Marie. If we get to a point where we have some further questions, we will ask you to unmute and ask your own questions. So without further ado, Anne-Marie.
Great, sounds good. Thanks, Brad. Thanks everyone for joining us. For those of you that don't know me, I am Anne-Marie Pearson, the Director of Client Success at Presto Sports. I've been with Presto for 12 years now. Prior to that, I was an SID myself for about 13 years at both the school and conference level. I came to Presto from a conference where I spent many Mondays sifting through ballots, counting, tracking down emails, tracking down coaches. So when I got here to Presto Sports, I thought there needs to be really a better system for conference awards. So this system that I'm going to show you is really built by developers with the careful guidance from SIDs who actually deal with these types of issues day to day. Now, while it's not perfect, it really does make your jobs a lot more efficient. We have conferences like the Pac-12, the Big 12, the Sun Belt, all using us just for the awards platform. So it really does make a difference in your workflow. So let me share my screen here and get right into it. You can see that, Brad? Okay, great. So, you're going to have a dedicated URL for NAIA Awards. That is naiaawards.prestosports.com, and it would be admin. And then as soon as you click on that, it will bring you to this login screen. It's very similar to logging into any Presto Sports site. So you would sign in. And I am signed in as myself, but I'm going to quickly switch over and sign in as Dawn, who had given me permission earlier, just so that we have some real-time data here. So here I am. It'll automatically log you into the game day. So the first thing you want to do, the first thing you need for awards is to make sure that all of your teams have their, and similar to stats, all of their teams have their schedules and rosters entered. So again, I think all of our stat sessions walk through how to enter a roster, how to enter a schedule for all your members. So those should be there. You can check under the schedule tab in game day, and then check under the roster tab and see who has entered and who has not, and then send reminders prior to opening everything. Once you have all of that cleared and set up, the next thing you can do is go right into your contacts tab. And this is where you set up your lists. This is your specific lists for your nominators, your voters per sport. So I'm just going to start here with a list. Click add list. I'm going to call this the WAC men's soccer nominees. If your lists are the same, if your nominees are your voters, you can certainly use that same list in both areas, and I'll walk you through that once we get into the flow. So once I have the list created, I want to then click on details to import all of my contacts. So I click import, and then you can just cut and paste all of the emails that should be associated with that specific list. I already have a test list set up, so nobody gets any random emails, so I'm going to work through that.
Marie, at some point, can you show us what a spreadsheet would look like to copy and paste those emails in from? It looks like it's
for this system, it's literally just cutting and pasting email after email. There's no cut and paste it directly from a Gmail group account that's already set up and just cut and paste. There's really no import spreadsheet or anything like that. It's very simple. The next thing I'm just going to go right into the awards. So there's three types of awards. We do have preseason polls, we have statistics, and we have custom awards. So statistics is what we will be working with mostly for Player of the Week. But you do have the option of using a custom award for if you're doing cross-country Player of the Week or golf Player of the Week that doesn't necessarily have stats. And I'll walk you through both of those options. But to get started, you click into add, and it's very simple. It kind of walks you through these breadcrumbs all along the way. I'm going to create my first one from scratch, and then I'll show you how to continue to copy awards so that you can then set up an entire season of awards and then not have to worry about it the rest of the year. So I click create from scratch, give it a title. I'm going to choose basketball. Will this award have custom fields? You have the option of adding your own custom field. For the stats awards, it's a pretty set, it's predetermined fields and stat fields. But if there is something specific that you want to see in your stats awards, you can add that. So for example, if you wanted to include a student athlete's major, you can click yes and add major as a field, and it will show up in your award. But for this purpose, I will just leave it as is. So you pick your nomination dates, the dates that it's accepted and the times that it closed, and you can close it right up to the 05s at any point. Will this award be voted on by individuals other than the award administrator? So this is where if you as an SID are picking the Player of the Week, you would set that to no. If you have a group of SIDs, your membership that picks it, you would leave it as yes. Yes is the default. Promote winners. This is something that would be for the NAIA National Office to, once your winners are selected at the end, they would be able to pull all of your winners into their next award that they create. So I'm just going to click next step. I was in men's basketball 2021. I'm just going back in time due to data that's there. It'll ask you to select your conference. I'm logged in as Dawn, so I only have access to her teams, to my teams. So that would be the same for all of you. You will only have access to your actual teams and not see everyone else's teams or conference to be able to choose from. So it's really dedicated just to your login. I'm going to click add all teams. Next step. So this is where you set up your stats for the date range. So again, if this is a Player of the Week, you would set the first week that you want to include the stats for. So whether it's Sunday to Sunday or Monday to Sunday, however you work that, you want to make sure you set those dates. If you don't set dates, it will just pull in all of the stats up to that point of time that the award is ready. Statistics view, you have the option to see overall summary and overall game log, conference summary, so conference only game log, and then a mix of both. So I'll choose both summary. Next step, this is where you select your nominators. This is the list that we had set up previously in contacts. So you would choose your, if this was a men's soccer award, I would choose my WAC men's soccer nominees. I'm going to choose test so that I can actually show you from what the user side, the membership side, what they'll see once this is set up. Down here is where you can set this option to mail nominations directly to you as an admin. So you'll also get these nominations via email. That can tend to spam your email a bit when it's just as easy to log in and check, but you do have that option. You also have an option to check to send reminders as soon as the award is open, 24 hours before it closes, and then 1 hour before it closes. And these will only go out to people who have not nominated. So you're not spamming anyone who actually has been doing their job, essentially. So we will click next step once you have all your check boxes. And then we get into our setting up of the voting. So you pick your voting dates. Again, it would be a couple days, day or two. If this is being chosen by the SID, then obviously you wouldn't even get to this screen. I'm sorry, being chosen by you as the admin. So then this is where you do your weights. If this is just player of the week, it would be 1 selection, 1 point. If you were using this for an all conference team, maybe for basketball, as this is basketball, I would do 5 players on the first team and weigh them maybe at 15 points each, 5 players on the second team, and just weigh through all the way down, however you set up your actual conference awards. So for player of the week, we will leave it with 1 player worth 1 point. So down here, it is automatically default to voters cannot vote for their own nomination. I'm actually going to swap that now just because I'm the only email on both nominating and voting, so I wouldn't even be able to show you how to vote. So I'm just going to click that to yes, just for this award purpose. You have the option when enabled, a vote cannot be submitted if ballot is incomplete. This is actually defaulted to no. So people can submit incomplete ballots. If you set this to yes, you just want to make sure that you have the proper amount of slots available for the proper amount of votes needed. So for example, if you are doing maybe a pitcher of the week or I would say a catcher of the year, and there's only 3 options as nominees, but there's 5 and 3 voters, but one of them cast the vote or was the nominee, then they wouldn't be able to vote for the third for their own player. So they would have to submit a ballot that only has 2 players there instead of 3, and it wouldn't go through that way. So you just need to make sure that you're able to verify voters per ballot spots. And then lastly, you have the option to lock a vote. Currently, that is also set to no. So currently, after someone nominates someone, they can consistently go back into their nomination and maybe add any new award that came their way, anything like that as they go through right up until the nomination is closed. So you can constantly update, change, or edit any of your nominees at that time. So I'm going to click next step. And this is where I pick my voters list. And again, you have the same options to send votes to yourself via email, and then to set reminders for once it's open, once people who haven't voted, 24 hours, and then 1 hour before it closes to those who haven't voted. Allow comments. This is actually for the NAI ratings system. So this is not something you would necessarily need for any of the conference awards. Next step is where you would just confirm your rankings. So again, we're just doing one player of the week for 1 point. If this were, again, an all conference team for basketball, we would have 5 players on the first team, 5 players on the second team, and 5 on the third. And this section down here is also for our wrestling ratings, not anything you would need to worry about while setting up conference awards. So here we go with a summary of the award as is. At any point, you can backtrack into your cookies over here under steps and edit anything. If maybe you wanted to include more than just cumulative, you wanted to change it to game by game, that kind of thing. So you have the option to start editing from this screen, or you can save it. So now we have an award that is set to, it's in pending and is set to nominate. It should have been set for this or Monday morning at 8 a.m. I can go in here into the details and just force this nomination to start as an admin. So I'm just going to click start nominating. So now this is open for nominations. So from this tab as an admin, you'll see it's in the nominate stage. You'll see a list of everyone who is on that my test list. This is the list that was involved. The test list is just me. You'll see all of the nominations that came through, and then you'll see all the voting list that's available. At any point, if you need to add a nominator to an award, you can do that simply by adding a contact here, or you can update it in the actual list in the contacts, and then it will dynamically update through this list as well. But let me show you from the nomination side. Is that okay, Brad, to just show what the members are going to see? So here I am logged in. And you'll see when I first logged in, as soon as I refreshed, I now have this new award for open for me to nominate. So the login for your membership will be different from the admin. It is naiaawards.prestosports.com/awards as opposed to admin. And we'll send you some documentation on all of this so you know exactly who does what and where. But so here I am in the nominating screen. I click nominate. I choose my team. Again, I'm logged in as Dawn, so I have access to all teams. Choose my team. I will see stats, and this view will show all of the stats for the season. It won't show the actual view of the week by week. So you should already have an idea of who you want to nominate prior to logging in. But once I click to nominate my player and click add information, I get to this screen. You can see it automatically pulls in the roster information. It has a field for hometown, coach's rank, or a headshot URL where you can provide a HTTP link for the conference office to use should they win. Here is where they will type in all of their supportive material, and you'll see below we have all of their stats pulled in, and this pulls in every stat that is tracked for that specific sport. If you're in baseball and your player is designated as a pitcher, it will obviously show pitching stats as opposed to a field player stats. It just pulls in according to position and settings. So I'm going to click, I'm just going to click nominate here. So now you'll see I'm logged in. I have Arthur nominated. I can click in here and update it to make any other changes if he adds another award. If there happens to be a game that he played in during the while nominations are open, his stats will automatically update. So you don't need to worry about the updating the stats at all, since that's all done through the network.
And Maria, I was just going to confirm that it's going to show the weekly stats based on the week range.
Yes, based on your parameters. And if somebody plays a game outside of that parameter, it won't show. If they play a game inside that parameter, but you already nominated, it will update it before nominations close.
And then at some point, Anne Marie, can you walk through one for like one that we won't have a Presto stats for, so like a golf or cross country or something like that?
Yeah, I'll do that after for sure.
Okay.
Let me just add one more nominee so that you can see once we get to the voting stage how that works. Okay, so now I have 2 nominations in there. So here I come back to my admin screen, and when I refresh, you'll see 2 nominees. You'll be able to click on the details, see exactly who nominated, be able to read their supporting information, all the information gathered. You have the ability to delete nominees, and you can also edit. So if somebody is, flying and can't make any edits that they want to add some supporting information, you can do that for anyone from this screen. You also have the ability over here under configure to edit times if you need to keep your nomination period open longer for any reason. You can do that at any point, click edit times, update the time that it closes, and it will automatically allow you to do that. And it will allow you to adjust your voting time as well. You can also edit teams. So if for some reason a team wasn't, an error wasn't part of the award, you can click edit teams or remove a team or add a team. Once we have that set up, you can always edit the rules. If you realize that, oh, I meant to add, I wanted these guys to be worth 5 points, you can edit your rules at any point during nomination. And then you can edit the stats view. If you made a mistake and wanted to actually show overall in conference game log, you can click that. And then when I go back into the nominees, you'll see it automatically updated that information as well. So now we have overall and conference game by game showing.
Marie, is there a way that you can control how many nominees come from a school? So like if
Nominees come from what?
So like if Union wanted to nominate 3 people for baseball, is there a way to limit them to not allowing that?
No. Okay. No, you just need to, that's where you would have to police it by either going in and deleting or disqualifying.
Got it.
So now that we have our nominees in, I'm going to force this to stop nominating. And you'll see now it's in ballot phase, just waiting for voting to open. So I'm going to start the voting. And now from here as a admin, you can download an Excel of the ballot. You can download a PDF of the ballot. I'll show you what that looks like if I can find it on my desktop. Here we go. Here is a PDF of our ballot. If you want to just have that, again, we had switched everything to game by game, so it can be pretty lengthy. But let me show you from the membership side again. So now that nominations have closed, nominations are no longer accepted, and now voting is open for this award that I'm associated with. So now I can click vote and it will open this voting tool. It's a very simple drag and drop. For stats awards, you can sort by position, by uniform, year, institution. You can show all details of every player. You can, if you want to evaluate one against the other, you can show details of one and hide details of another. You can also print the ballot from here. It will allow you to print, your membership can print a hard copy as well. But essentially we are just dragging and dropping. And if I had this set up where you can't vote for your own nominee, then these would be grayed out for me because I was the one who nominated both of these. So I wouldn't even be able to drag and drop them accidentally. I wouldn't have access to anyone that I actually nominated. So I'm just going to drag this over here and click vote. And it will confirm my voting. And as soon as I click vote, it will send me a confirmation email letting me know I voted. You do have the ability to change your vote right up until voting closes. So let's go back to what you'll see. So now you're back in your voting stage. You can go to rankings at any time that voting opens and see how everyone is ranking and faring. You can see, go into voters, see who has voted so far, who hasn't. It would show a blank spot under vote if they have not voted. You can see how they voted specifically as well. If this was an all conference, you can see their whole ballot, all of that. So once you have your ranking set and voting is over, what you would want to do is stop voting. And as an admin, this is an important step for the promoting of awards. But as an admin, you then have to select the final winner yourself. So I would click select winner, and it was Tyler Black. Click vote, and it would then go into the select phase. So that's the last feature that will then set that award up to have a final winner that then Brad's team can then pull forward into their national awards. Any questions on the stats awards? And then I'll go into the custom award types.
I've got a couple of questions that came through. Number one, will it show in the stats piece the team's win-loss record for that week? Is that part of what it's going to pull in?
It will show yes, it depends on how, I mean, it'll show that it's a win or a loss. It won't show an overall team record for that win.
Okay, so what it will not show like a win-loss record for the team in the week. So like the team went 3-2 on the week, it won't show 3-2.
Correct.
Okay.
It will
but
show.
You could add that as a custom field.
Yes.
On the
yes.
stats. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So all it shows is the loss win over here.
Got it. Okay. That's okay. I think that's so a couple more questions. If rosters are not entered by a school, can one of the nominators nominate a player on the fly, even though they don't have a roster submitted?
No.
Okay. So they have to have a roster submitted.
They have to have a roster in. They wouldn't even have stats without a roster in. So the only way to have stats is with their roster as well. So generally,
I think it probably goes more toward like the golf and the cross country, but
yeah. And that, yes. And I'll get through to that, or that's our next demo is the cross.
The last question is, so do the conference SIDs need to set their awards up to promote winners if they want it to flow up to us, or does the national office, do we just need to go to that select feature and just take a look at that sport and see who's been selected by the conference? The
conference admins need to do that step select in order for that award to then flow up to the NAIA. You as the national office need to set up that award and then pick those winners or those the winners of those conference awards to pull into your award.
So they don't necessarily need to select the promote winners.
They don't necessarily. No, they're not the ones that choose the button promote winners. No.
Okay, got it.
You do that. The national office does that when they set up their award that's pulling awards in.
Yeah. Okay. And then another question came in. Will it show team rankings for the team and their opponent? Will it have like their top 25 rankings?
I believe that is a request that you've all had, Brad. So that should be either in the works or available. Yes.
Okay.
And that's also something it would show if you customize the event to add the team ranking yourself. in the network, it will pull that customization in as well. So yes, the answer is yes.
Perfect.
It also can't hurt to highlight those wins in your notes and supporting material as well.
Right. I think there's a lot of people that just don't put anything in their notes, and you know, I think that's going to be something we'll have to make sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Making sure I'm not missing any questions. I think we're good.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to move on to show you a Player of the Week award for a custom award, which would be actually, before I do that, let me show you now how to copy your awards forward. So now that I had that one award that was done, the demo, I click copy an existing award and I chose that demo award. I can name it, you know, demo week 2. I can edit teams if I need to, change the statistics dates for the following week, change the nomination period, the voting period, adjust any reminders, and click copy. And it will automatically copy the same parameters and copy that award forward. And you'll see that in your pending box. So you could have up to, you know, well, you can have unlimited amount of awards in your pending box, but you can have your entire season set up and never have to set up another award that way. You also have the option, this one is a little more intricate. I recommend using the simple copy one forward, but we do have a bulk copy an existing award tool. This one's a little trickier where you choose incrementals and weeklies. So if I'm copying it maybe for 6 weeks, my start date is today. It's open for 3 days at a time, and it's open for maybe 2 days for voting. I click generate. It'll set up this whole awards grid that you can then edit specifically for the time periods, the voting periods, and then once you save that, you want to check each award and make sure your stats periods are correct as well. So it's just a little trickier to get it exact the first time, but I always use the other method of just copying one existing award forward. But the other option we have is to add a custom award for a, let's say, cross-country Player of the Week. So these are not running through the network. So what we have here is a whole list of custom forms here. So right now, let's just go with a golf athlete of the week. So I can preview this.
I think we even have an NAI one, didn't we?
I'm sorry?
I think we set up an NAI one.
Did we set up some?
I think so.
Oh, these are, yep, NAI cross country player of the week. So you can we did, yeah, I did all that.
This was so long ago.
It's like my COVID project. So you can choose these, yeah, so I don't even need to go through how to choose an award because they're already built. So now I click add, create from scratch again. Name it your WAC XC Player of the Week. The type of award is that custom NAIA cross-country Player of the Week award. Then you go through the same pretty much practice, same steps. Will this be voted on by individuals? Yes. Choose my test award, set your reminders, pick your voting date, pick your weights. I'm going to change this to yes again. Select my voting list, hit your reminders, next step, voting spots, all set, click save, review your dates, your times, click save. And now you will see, again, here are your nominators, here are your voters, and this allows you to send emails specifically to all nominees or all admins. And so let me show you how this looks from a membership side. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to manually start nominating. So now this is a nominations in Nominate. So on the membership side, I am in the nominating screen. I see my cross-country player of the week. I click nominate, and you'll see you're just taken directly to a straight data entry nominee online form. So all of this is, all of these NAIA awards are approved by the NAIA office, awards that we built specifically that they track, or time fields that they track to pick national player of the weeks as well. So you do, for these types of awards, you do need to manually enter all information. Did you want me to run through that?
Yeah, probably not now.
I'll just add a name.
Yeah.
So I have a nominee in there. Let me, I don't think I need another one. Yeah, I'll nominate one more. So now I'm all nominated here. You can see the two nominations. When you click into the details, it would show you all of the information that was added. Again, I only added a first name for time's sake. But let's put this into voting just so you can see the voting. And once I click vote, this is a feature actually that I haven't shown you yet. You can actually vote or nominate for your members. So if someone is having a really hard time getting into the system, or if again, they're on a flight and just can't do it in time, you can choose them from the drop down and vote for them or nominate for them. Let me go back to the membership voting now. So now this is in voting. I'm going to click vote. And then you will see the nominees here, and you can show all their detail. And again, it's just a drag and drop to pick my winner and click vote. Now you'll notice on these custom awards, there's really no way to filter because these are just plain HTML data fields. So there's nothing to code in to actually be able to filter. So it does show up. I believe it's alphabetical when it's first entered. Let me cancel my vote. So now here we are back in the award. You'll see rankings. Again, it shows who's in the lead. So very simple. It's again the same process. It really does walk you right through the process as you're going, but it's just a matter of picking the right award, making sure you have the right time parameters, stats parameters. Those are usually the biggest errors that we hear in support is, you know, this game isn't showing up for a specific player. Well, yeah, that's because the date ends the day before they played that game, that kind of thing. So it's really just being you know, paying attention to the details of the awards themselves.
Anne Marie, if you miss one of those dates, then you can go back and change the date, you know, dynamic, right?
Exactly. You would just edit those times, excuse me, edit, change the date, and it would automatically pull that in.
And one quick note for everyone, when you see on the list, you're going to want to use, if it's a sport that we have Presto stats for, you're going to want to use the statistics award. So if the only sports you're going to want to use, the custom fields are going to be for cross country or track and field, those types of sports. We have some set up for like soccer and volleyball, That was before the NAI made its final deal with Presto Stats. So that was in anticipation of kind of a break glass in case of emergency. The DAX stats would not be able to provide those stats to ingest into the system. So we set those up. It may be easier if we just delete those or hide those or something, but I just want to make sure you know. So set up your stats awards as the stats type of award because that would clear your stats.
And just to show you this last tab, once you finalize and select your winners, none of the winners have been selected on these. It automatically moves it into archives. So that is the archives is where your completed, fully completed ballots will or awards will show always. You can also, at this stage, you can download the voting breakdown as well if you wanted to save any of that as an Excel, or if some conferences share it with their membership so they have some accountability, but that's up to you. But you do have that option.
And Marie, just, and this is kind of a separate question, that's where we also download our ratings.
It's also what? I'm sorry?
That's where we would also download a ratings file.
Correct, yes, yes, yeah. I believe it was built specifically for ratings and we pulled it into.
Off topic question.
Sorry, I have a little feedback on your microphone, so it just sounded a little muffled. I apologize. Any other questions or anything, Brad, that you can think of that needs to be shown? Just, aside from the NAIA forums, if you did want to run a, Student Athlete of the Year award through here, you can do that as well. We have a ton of awards set up. All you have to do is choose, preview the nominee or preview the nomination for an award that's set up. If you want something changed, you would email me. Like if you love this award, it has everything you want, but you just wanted it to include a major, something like that, you can email that to our care team or myself, and we can customize that for you and add it as into this custom list as the WHAC Student Athlete of the Year award that you can then add from that list.
I want to open it up to questions to everyone. So we just got one right now. Lucas has just asked if we have the player of the week calendar dates set. Yes, we do. We are working on getting all those uploaded. So we've had a little vacation time that we've been utilizing lately. So I know Katie's working on that. Katie, I know you're on. Do you have a kind of an ETA on when you think that could be complete? Oh, never mind. Katie just wrote in its update. So it should be online. If you guys don't see it somewhere online or where it should be, just let us know. But I want to open it up for anyone who wants to unmute and ask any questions. We want to make sure we answer whatever we can. You guys have been asking some really good questions. Nobody? This is a quiet group.
Well, I had questions, Tyler Price. So stats wise, so let's say some school is not using Presto Stats. How do they get those stats into here so that they'll kind of read with the nomination process, or like
Tyler, they're going to have to import it into Presto Stats.
No matter what. Okay.
Yeah. That's how you're going to submit stats. It's similar to like if you use StatCrew live, but you needed to submit your stats to the NAI, you still have to submit it through. You would have to still submit through DAC. So yeah, same thing here.
Great, thank you.
Further questions?
I have a question on, sometimes there's problems with the team getting like stats from a game, on Sunday to get uploaded to the Player of the Week nominations. And it sounds like there's no way to manually go in and add in the stats and the statistics award. Like they would have to be in and upload it through Presto Stats. Is that right?
If they're not using Presto Stats, yes, it needs to be uploaded into the event, whether it's from the home team or the visiting team. Yes.
Right. Well, I'm just saying if like they use Presto Stats, but for that game, there was an issue getting it fixed and all they have is like a box score that they want to manually put in the stats just for the Player of the Week thing. But
if they use Presto Stats, it would automatically be updated in the network itself.
I think what he's asking is, so like on a Sunday right before the award, if for whatever reason some school just was not able to upload it in the Presto Stats, is there a way for them to manually enter stats for that game?
Only in the supporting material slot. You can add it whatever you want there. Yeah. But no, there's no way to data field enter. No.
Okay. So we can, so Matt, I think that's the thing that a school would have to do. I think that'll be important for like membership law. We got to make sure that we get these in. If you don't, you can still add it in that custom field at the bottom that has, what, additional records or anything like that. They can still have the stats in.
okay.
Yeah. And Lucas, you just asked me a question. You just want to ask that to everybody. Lucas had asked if it was possible to set up a weekly recurring award, but yeah, that's exactly what we're doing about the copy and paste. You can copy those awards down. So you set it up once, and then all you have to do is just go change the dates.
Correct.
I just didn't know if there was a way that you vote every Monday by a certain time. If you just set up Mondays, Fridays, but you have to go in there and do each date for each week. So I got to set up 12 weeks. I have to copy 12 times to do a football week or season or however many weeks of basketball. It can't just be the deadline is Monday at 8 a.m. and voting is this way. I just didn't know if there was a simpler way than copying it that many times.
No, the copy is necessary for it to set the new standard of the stats dates range to be able to pull directly from the network. So it's not a matter of just changing the dates. It really is changing the stats range each time as well. You can use that bulk import tool to try and set it up all at once for that whole season. But sometimes you need to be a scientist to make sure it's all correct.
Are there any changes that in terms of when have to be identified in a time? I know there were changes due to COVID to help out any.
Hey, Kevin, can you try asking that again? You're breaking up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Any changes at the office in terms of pick our conference day and time?
I think you're asking about any changes about day and time for conference nominations. No, everything's going to stay the same in terms of our deadline structure. That's the only thing that's changing is just the platform in which we're using. If you weren't referring to that specifically, just go ahead and tag me something in the chat.
Yeah.
We'll get it worked out.
Hey, Anne Marie, because we are putting in so many different sports and weeks, one more time, what is so different about that bulk upload feature?
Let me show it to you. So bulk copy an existing award. It gives you a panel grid. So you have to make sure how many times are you copying this award? Maybe I heard 12 weeks. The start date is the 14th. You have to do the math to make sure you know how many days it's open for, how many days you're allowing for voting. and then click generate. And then you'll see nominating period for 2 days, voting period. Sorry, voting period for 2 days, nominating period for 3. Once you say it, you can change all the dates or the names of the week. Once you save it, I would then go in and edit each, just check each award to make sure that, so now these are all in pending. Edit each award to make sure that the dates and the times are exact and the voting stats parameters are the same.
I actually think that bulk upload or the bulk copy might work out really well for you guys. It looks like, just from my perspective, I think that's probably what the NAI is going to do, because we're pretty standard. If we can get that one look of every single award, I think that really helps.
Mm-hmm.
Does the bulk one allow you to edit the stats period or just the voting and nomination? I noticed it said it would show season stats.
Well, I had it set for cumulative stats in that award, so there weren't any actual stat dates in there. But where you had it open for, I think when you set it for how many stats, how many days the award is open, it would copy those same rules for the stats parameters. I'm gonna delete all of these after the call, Brad.
One thing I do like about this, guys, is that, and I've been harping on this for the last couple of months, but this will send all of our national award winners and your conference, or not award winners, but your conference nominators and our national nominators automatically get generated emails if they haven't voted. So that's something that we really need. Our vote totals were really down last year. I think most of that was due to COVID, but a lot of it's due to people just getting busy and forgetting. So I really think it's going to be a nice benefit of this system. Yeah, there's going to be, it's different. There's going to be more setup at the beginning, and trust me, I'm going to be doing the same thing as you guys are. Because we'll have to set up all the national awards, but yeah, there's a little bit more setup. I think the positives outweigh the negatives, but yeah, there's going to be a learning curve for sure. Anne-Marie, one thing that I do want to ask is, if we run into issues on a nomination or an award winner or something like that, that's, once we get to that stage of being an hour before the award, or, after the award is already, after the voting is already closed, and we need to kind of move on something fast and get something fixed, what's the quickest way for everyone to get something fixed really fast and that's time sensitive?
Yeah, if you can't fix it by, editing it yourself over on the side or editing the nomination yourself, the quickest way is to call our care team directly. I would say email me, but I travel quite a bit, so I may not even be available, but you can always copy me if I were available and around. I'm more than happy to hop in and help as well. But usually if it's urgent, a phone call to the care team will get the ball moving at least. Yeah.
It seems like for the most part, everything is pretty much customizable. You need to make a change.
Yeah, it's very adaptable.
Further questions?
So what do we need to do to get our login info for this site?
We'll send documentation on specifically what login you're using, what URL you're using, what URL your members should be using. I don't believe we have the full list yet from your office, Brad, of all the conference admins to set that up. So once we have that, we can knock that out pretty quickly and send that. We'll also post some additional materials in the help center as well. And certainly, Brad, if you want me to do mini videos, you know, one video showing a stats award, one video showing a custom award, I'm happy to do, you know, any of those, a whole series of those as well.
We're also recording this and we're going to have this on our YouTube page, guys. So we've got a channel that, or a playlist that is just Presto Sports. So the last one that we did for school SIDs on football is already up there. This one's going to be up there. So if you need a quick reference guide and you need to rewind and see some of this, it'll be there. But yeah, we will have all the conference admins over the rest of this week. So we should get on. We should be
Great.
If any of you guys, now that we've got your attention, if you have any additional people other than yourselves that you want us to add to that list, like if you have co-conference SIDs or something like that, let me know and we'll make sure we add that to the list. Because I'll be pulling it directly from AM.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Brad. When I talk about, you know, emailing the admin information, by admin, I mean the login. So even though I set up this award, it was set up under Dawn's login. So anything would go to her. It's really by the login if you're sharing logins or whatnot.
And then for just the school SIDs, Anne Marie, what do our conference SIDs need to do to get them all squared away?
I believe we have your list from with our team, with Charles and our team who are setting up all of those. I believe all the accounts are set up. It's just mapping to the stats usage. But there is a document that I probably would like you to review first, Brad, before we share with anyone. That is general. I share it with conferences for them to tailor it to their own membership. If you have different ways of voting or different rules. So we should do one standard one, I guess, just across the board, since it sounds like you're all pretty standardized in general, so that you can then from the conference office share it with your members and it'll walk through step by step and exactly what is expected of them. And I have that on my list as an action item to get over to you.
Any final questions before we wrap up? All right. Well, as I said, we're going to have this recording up on our YouTube page today, so you guys can immediately go review it. And if you want to send this to anyone else in your conference that you think it may be worthwhile to see, that's great. And then up until then, we're going to get the conference admins over to Presto, and they're going to get you guys some information on this so you guys can get to this as soon as humanly possible. I know you guys don't want to be messing around with this in the middle of August, so we're gonna work through this really fast. All right. Thank you to everyone, and thank you, Anne Marie. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, and feel free to reach out to me directly anytime with any other questions.
Thank you.
Thanks.